Coming up this morning, we'll open with our thoughts on the Commanders coming to town. Yippee. Who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints? Do you still care? Do I still care? Is this a tryout for the future? The big question really is, though, who's going to stop Jaden Daniels? Speaking of Jaden Daniels, it is Heisman Trophy weekend. I'm fairly certain we all knew who's going to win, but that doesn't mean Gabe and I can't have a friendly discussion on the topic, right? And it's Thursday, so that means that Uncle Big Nick is here for Best Bets. And yes, for the first time in this show's history, I will be incredibly embarrassed when we review last week's totals. All that and whatever else you might want to talk about this morning, it's all up to you. And it's all coming up next on the Dattitude podcast.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where are you at, Dattitude family? Are you bundled up? It is cold here in New Orleans. I know it's cold in Houston. Looks like just about everywhere else in America. Even in Tampa, I looked at it. I don't know what made me look at Tampa. I said, Miami was like 68. I'm like, okay. Let me see what it is. Tampa. It's in the 50s this morning. In Tampa, Florida. Love it. I love it. Also love that we're ready to kick into gear here on Dattitude, episode number 322, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Thursday, December the 12th, 2024. I am your host, Jim Derry, if you haven't figured that out. 34 years in the New Orleans sports scene, sports media scene, anyway. All of them here at the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, The Advocate. We're all rolled into one happy family. All right, what is on today's show? Plenty. We didn't waste any time. I don't even do a today's show slide because we're going to get right into the Saints in just a minute because that's what it's look, as we go further, I told you all this. It's not going to be 100% Saints anymore. We're going to start talking about other things that are important as well. Because I know y'all are interested in other things as well. And quite frankly, the Saints 5-8 and going nowhere. But of course, we got to talk about them. We want to talk about them and things that are pertinent to not just now, but we're going to start talking about the future of this team as well. Talk about probably getting in the draft before too long. No, we're not going to do any mock drafts or anything silly like that, but we're all going to get into different things regarding the Saints. Saints are 7.5-point underdogs. A spoiler alert, best bets coming up in a little while. This game is in both Uncle Big Nick's best bets and my best bets. How about that for a spoiler alert? You'll have to wait till he's not going to come on. He'll probably come on around 11:40-ish, somewhere around there. Again, I'm going to talk about the Saints. Also later, after I'm done with Uncle Big Nick, I put it here on the screen, but I am going to talk about what I think are the three best games in the NFL this week. This isn't the greatest week of games, I got to say. But there's a good one tonight. Rams and 49ers. The loser of that game might be done. Might be donezo. So we'll talk about that. You can be a part of the show. You know how to be a part of the show. Just type in your comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the YouTube, the Dattitude YouTube page. If you're watching on YouTube right now, give us the like. Give us the thumbs up. Again, I have no idea why it helps. They say that it does, and I believe them. So give us a like while you're watching. We had some issues with Facebook the last week or so, and apparently it was the platform that we use here to stream to multiple platforms at one time was not working correctly to Facebook. So I think it's working today. We'll find out later. Anyway, it's called StreamYard, by the way. That's what we use to send this out to you and how I get everybody in the green room and get all of our graphics up and all those sorts of things. So we hope it's working today. All right, let's see what's going on this morning. Randall, you were first. Good morning. Welcome. Can't wait to get into the QB talk with you this morning. A-Town, good morning. Charles Mangus is here. Good morning. Kyle Sherman. Dattituders are here. Gary. Welcome. I'm not even sure what this means, Randall, but I'll show it anyway. You're a regular. The Commanders be going commando in the dome on Sunday. Does that mean, will they have a 0 next to their score, or does that mean what I think I don't know. I don't think the Commanders will have 0. Then there might be a 0 in the score, maybe with a 3 in front of it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a little bit. John Pace, good morning. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Gabe. Good morning, Uncle Big Nick, who is back in the green room. He's going to watch the show back there. Although all I see is his blank chair right now. Chris Johnson, good morning. Welcome. Jerry's here. It's not a show until Jerry's here. Just saying. A-Town wants to know, at this point in time, who would want to come and play for the Saints. You'd be surprised. Randall's talking about the weather. His brother lives in Chicago. 5 a.m. this morning when he left for work, it was 5 degrees and felt like minus 13. Look, I like cold weather, but I don't like it that much. I'm sorry, I just don't. I'm a fan of the cold weather, but I like the New Orleans. I like the cold weather of the South. You know, when a really chilly day, it's like highs in the 50s, lows in the 30s. I love that kind. Gabe says his favorite soccer team is playing in Kazakhstan right now, and it is minus 18. No thanks. What is the coldest, by the way, if you're from around here, we're going to get back to some more comments in a minute. Not that this matter. You know, I like talking about the weather. What's the coldest temperature you've ever been in? I can tell you mine, okay? The coldest temperature I've ever been in. And all the games that I've covered throughout my career, I think the coldest game I ever covered was in Chicago. It was in the mid-20s, and it was snowing towards the end of the game. That was in 2004. I think that, no. 2004 or 2006. I can't remember. Anyway, it must have been 2004. It was before Peyton. And but other than that, once I had a layover in Cincinnati. I don't remember where I was going, but I had a layover in Cincinnati, and it was 4 degrees in Cincinnati. I said, I got to walk outside and just feel what 4 degrees feels like. It felt like exactly what you thought it would feel like. Okay, that's enough. Walk back inside. UBN, I don't know if he's listening back there, but A-Town wants an authentic autographed UBN shirt for Christmas. I could probably make that happen. Are you listening, UBN? Shake your head if you're listening. He's listening. Can we make this work? An authentic autographed UBN shirt for Christmas. He's going to type in. Hey, Rainy Cajun, what's up? John wants to know if we know who the Saints starting quarterback is yet. Oh, we're going to get into that. S. Kelly says, it is chilly in Pensacola, Florida. Welcome. I bet it is. We got a lot of family in Panama City. I know it's cold there. Good morning, Emily. Hakeem's here. Where you at, big dog? Sandra saying roll wave. Roll wave. We'll see their bowl game is in 8 days against Florida. We'll talk about that next week. Bart Prudhomme is already making his predictions. We have not asked for predictions yet, but we will ask for them today because there's no show tomorrow. Saints are going to lose 50-10. Wow. We're going to get in some of the other. We got some other comments on. They can't wait to get into this whole QB2 talk. Adam Varner, good morning. Hello, how are you? Sean, good morning. Hope had a Snickers today. I hear you. You're not going to rile me up today, are you? We got a little ways to go. Don't get me started yet. I just drank my coffee. I'm a little pissed off this morning because not only did they not have the pumpkin spice this morning, they didn't even have my backup, which is the caramel macchiato or whatever that you pour in there. No, I had to use regular cream and sugar. So, Sean, I didn't necessarily have a Snickers, and I didn't even have my right coffee. So it's going to be a weird morning. UBN's writing notes on his fancy board. Okay. All right. Got all kinds of people talking. Charles says it's minus 18 in Germany. I'm sorry. The coldest he's ever felt, minus 18 in Germany somewhere in 1998. Brian says the coldest he ever felt, 5 below zero. John says, wait, that wrong one. John says minus 20 at Ski Cooper, Colorado. No thanks. Is that like kind of it's a dry cold? You know, in the summer, go to Phoenix. It's 110, but it's a dry heat. Yeah, right. Jerry says coldest day he ever had was in Gulfport in 2013 or 2017. It's around 20 degrees. Feels like 13 with the wind chill. We've had colder than that here. I know. In fact, man, I'm really getting off topic this morning. But up here in the North Shore in Mandeville, in I believe it was 2011. Then it happened again, like maybe 8-9 years ago. We had like 3 days in a row where it got down to 15 up here in Mandeville. Pretty. It was not any fun. There was ice in the streets. I know, Rainy Cajun, no pumpkin spice latte, the horror. They haven't had it for a while, but I've been okay with the caramel. They don't have it. A-Town says he's drinking his white chocolate mocha in his coffee right now. Sean says the coldest was in Dallas-Fort Worth, minus 8 power grid went down. Emily says minus 20 in Indiana. Charles says 33, if I could show it, 33 this morning in Leesville. Yeah, it was in 30s here this morning. I think it got down to 35 here. Good morning, Ovide. And Phil asks, will the Wave sign a quarterback in the portal? I don't know because they already have 2. They probably will. Do they need to? I don't know. Probably not. We'll talk more about Tulane next week. I promise. We will have at least the whole entire segment on Tulane. Maybe we'll go out and get one of the Tulane beat writers or reach out to someone at Tulane. Who knows? We'll see where that goes. All right. Before we get to the Saints, the Heisman, and the best bets, because Gabe and I, after I talk about Saints for a little bit, we are going to talk. This is how today's show is going to go. We're going to talk Saints. We're going to talk Haener and Rattler. We're going to talk about Jaden Daniels a little bit. We're going to talk. Then we're going to go to Gabe. We're going to talk Heisman. Uncle Big Nick and I are going to have our best bets. Then I'm going to come back to Saints, and we'll wrap up this show with Saints and talk a little bit about the best games of the week, including Rams and Niners, which is tonight on Amazon Prime. But before we get to all that, let me continue the story about our friends at Evangeline Securities. You most likely have heard me ask on a daily basis if you've been thinking about selling your family-run or privately held business. You've been thinking about getting in touch with Nick Braden and Ron Hemelt over at Evangeline Securities, but you haven't taken that last step. You haven't got to your computer. You haven't typed in www.evangelinesecurities.com. You haven't called them. Here's the one thing you need to know if you haven't done this. If you haven't taken that step, what's the first thing that they're going to do for you? What is the most important step in this process? You got it. You need to first find out what your business is worth. And what will Evangeline do to get there? They offer you a complimentary valuation, and then there's no pressure after that. Then it's up to you. If you get the number you like and you decide to proceed, Nick and Ron will help guide you through the process and make sure things work out the way they're supposed to. If you decide you still need to do a few things before you're ready to sell, that's cool too. But get the ball rolling. Get that big question answered. Talk to Nick and Ron. Do it now. Do it before Christmas. Get the ball rolling. More on this later in the show. As I told you, in the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. All right. Let's get to it. Saints. Right out the gate, William. All right. This is going to... I'm interested to see if this even stirs Hornets' nest anymore, if people even care. William says Rattler lovers are comical. They don't want Jake Haener to start because they're afraid he might look better than Rattler did in his 0-3 start. They should give Jake 3 games to fairly compare. Well, 0-3 start is putting it mildly. We had someone on the show who had a good point about Spencer Rattler, and I'm going to give him credit for it. He said, I don't remember who it was that said this. And if you're watching, you could say it was you that said it. I don't remember. But it was a valid point. I mean, when Spencer Rattler came in, not only did it not have, well, he had his receivers in the first game or two or whatever it was, but he didn't have his complement of offensive line. However, people talk about how mobile he is, and that's his big strength. And to get away, look, I'm just saying, I don't care who your offensive line is and who your receivers are, because Derek Carr's had to play with it 2 at times. When you play 3 games and you score 6 points, you're not going to cut it. I don't need to know more. So I'm kind of with you. And I really, personally, I want to see Jake Haener. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it matters all that much because, I mean, I don't know how many other ways to say this. I don't think either one of these backup quarterbacks are part of the long-term future for this franchise. Nathaniel Sherman says, I didn't think a banged-up Carr was the best option last year, and I definitely don't think he is now. Bringing in that nobody does nothing but take up space. Well, I'm not exactly sure where you're going with that, Nathaniel, but, I mean, banged up. Derek Carr's not playing again this year. All this BS about they might play, like he might not be done. He's done for this year. He's not coming back. We talked about the clause in his contract about his injury. Derek Carr's not coming back this year. You don't have to worry about that. Let's see what else we got here. We're going to get to some LSU comments later. You know, Randall, they both suck. Weren't you a Rattler lover? Just saying. Didn't you love Rattler? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you didn't. Maybe I have to go dig back in some old shows and find it. John's joking when he says hard not to look better than Rattler. Well, I mean, he's not really joking. That is true. Lloyd Riley says, give us Prime and Shador. Oh my God, no. Gabe couldn't wait to show. Like, he didn't even let me click on that one. You made sure that one was getting on. Prime, look, I love what he's done. He's made Colorado Buffaloes football fun again, but man, no. God, no. And I really, the sad thing, I went into this year thinking Shador Sanders was going to be this stud NFL quarterback. I've changed my mind. I have not seen this year what I thought I was going to see from Shador Sanders. I really haven't. It's kind of sad. Anyway, a couple more comments before we go to the Heisman talk. I promise we're going to have plenty of Saints talk when after we finish with Gabe and Uncle Big Nick. A-Town, you still holding to your prediction from the beginning of season 5-12 or 6-11? Well, I mean, that's easy to say now. I think they'll win one more at least, which would mean 6-11. But I said 7-10. I'm not going to change it now. I hear you though. Katie Brown, I guess Lattimore wasn't faking his injury as you thought when he got traded. Are you kidding? First of all, I never said he was faking. What I said was, how do I put this nicely? He had an injury that other people probably would have played with at some point. That's putting it nicely. Just because he's not playing with Washington doesn't mean that he can't play. Lattimore, when this season's over, Lattimore are going to get paid. Okay? He's protecting Lattimore's interest. Lattimore doesn't care about what the team he's playing on. It's no different than when he was with the Saints. You take it up for Marshawn Lattimore? He's a bum, dude. When he wants to be, he's one of the top 2 or 3 cornerbacks in the NFL. But the problem is he doesn't want to be, but like half the time. Come at me with more. You got to get better than that. Just because he's not playing, he wouldn't. Again, I never said he was faking. Oh, my hammy hurts. I'm not saying his hammy didn't hurt. You don't miss that much time with that injury. I'm just going to say that. And it's every year for this dude. It's been like every year for the last 3 years. Coincidentally, when the Saints stunk. When the Saints were good, guess what? He wanted to play. He was in there when the Saints were good. Never happened before. Sounds like a certain wide receiver who also went cuckoo and left this team and can't find another job. I don't remember his name, but he wore number 13. Who was that dude again? Bum. Just because you're good doesn't mean you can't be a bum. Lattimore and number 13 are bums. Hakeem. Rattler didn't have an O-line at full strength. Again, here we go. And that's what I was talking about. Haener deserves a chance, but Rattler still has more upside. What? What upside? What upside does he have, Hakeem? Unfortunately, neither one of these young quarterbacks will be here when we get a new coach. I hope you're right. This team needs to start over. And that quarterback, too. Derek Carr isn't going anywhere next year, and maybe one more year after that. I've told y'all this. I know no one's defended Derek Carr more than me. But I've told y'all, and y'all don't, people don't want to hear me. People don't hear this when I talk about Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not the future of this franchise. He's the bridge to the future. The future at quarterback on this franchise is nowhere near this roster. He's either playing for another team right now, probably as a backup, or he's in college. There are no college quarterbacks that I can see going forward right now in this coming class. I don't see any one of them that can be a potential long-term answer. Maybe 2 years. We don't do that, Jalen. We don't do that. Another comment like that, you're banned. Am I serious? Absolutely serious about Lattimore. It's a laughable response. Okay, laugh. Go ahead, laugh. I don't care. I implied he was faking. It's not what I implied. I didn't imply he was a faking. This is where you guys don't listen. Okay. Here's the problem I have with certain. This is like goes to the whole social media thing. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Did I say he was faking? I didn't say he was faking. I told you I believe that he was actually injured. What I said was, and I'm putting it nicely again, open your listening ears. They're right here. Right here. You got two of them. I think they work. I don't know you. Maybe one of them don't work. Maybe that neither one of them work. I don't know. What I said was he had an injury. He has an injury and has had injuries that other players would play with, and probably he's played with in the past. It's not you get a pattern of a player who keeps missing when his team sucks. He's suddenly injured. I'm not denying that he's not injured. Could he play if he wanted to? Absolutely. I don't give it though. You're not a doctor. You don't know. When it's a pattern of something that keeps recurring over and over again, delete that, Gabe. You know which one I'm talking about. He's gone. He's out. The one I was talking, yeah, him. I don't know what you don't understand what I'm trying to say. You don't have, again, this show, we're all about, I love disagreements. If you want to disagree with me, fine. We can talk about disagreements. But you got to come with more than, it's an attitude. Again, are you talking about recurring patterns with Marshawn Lattimore? This didn't just start this year. It's the same thing last year. And it was the same thing the year before that. When the Saints were in contention early in the season, he's fine. All of a sudden, Saints stink, hurt. It's not a coincidence. I don't have any accountability. Social media, you're not a teenager. I never said you were a teenager. You're not listening. It's a chronic injury. Dude. It's my favorite. It's almost as good as like honey. Or what was the other one, Gabe, we were talking about last week or 2 weeks ago? Whatever, dude. You don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you. Kyle Sherman says, all true on Lattimore. I know this. The majority of Saints fans that I know and listen to, because, again, there are a lot of people coming here who don't agree with me. I know this. When Marshawn Lattimore was traded, most people were happy. He should have been traded before the season. Don't care if you don't agree with me. 3 letters. B-U-L-L. M. Just saying. Ovide says if it's a chronic injury, he needs to retire. Right. I mean, why are you still playing if it's a chronic? If it's going to keep happening, you're going to keep missing games. Why are you playing? Collect a paycheck? Brian says he milks injuries. Oh, my word. Anyway, William says Lattimore's injury prone. It's a fact. It is a fact. People don't like the words injury prone put together. It's true, though. I mean, I didn't know we were going to be talking about Marshawn Lattimore today, but we can. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. Emily says Lattimore and Thomas are cut from the same cloth, talented crybabies. Now, I don't think Marshawn Lattimore is in the exact same spot as Thomas. Close, I guess. You're right, Mal. Two things can be true. That's absolutely true. Rainey loves when it gets spicy up in here. It always gets spicy up in here. I think Sean and I are agreeing on something. No good if you're never available. It's true. All right, we're going to come back to Saints. Again, don't go anywhere. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about, and we want your comments. Look, just because we switch topics, I've noticed that lately, a lot of times when we switch topics, y'all don't comment as much. I want the same passion and love. We're going to come back again. We're going to finish the show with Saints. We can come back to this same talk if you want, but I do want to move on because there are a couple other things. Obviously, it's Thursday. Uncle Big Nick's coming up in a little bit with our best bets, and y'all want to see how bad I did last week. Man, y'all can make fun of me. Y'all going to be making fun of me for a while when you see the totals from last week. And I deserve it. It was awful. But first, we're going to get to some Heisman talk. Gabe says upside is often a cover for being bad. Yeah. Heisman. I think we know who's going to win. But you guys seem to look. Before I bring on Gabe. Well, you know what? I'll bring him on to talk about it. You know, interestingly enough, I got a comment from someone who listens on a regular basis. I'm not going to name any names. It's someone who may be here right now, may not be here right now. But there are people wondering if you and I actually was asked, is this an act that we go through when we disagree with each other? And nope. And also, do you hate Gabe? I'm like, neither. I love Gabe. Just because he's like the little brother that I want to like grab around the neck and go, noogie to sometimes. But I mean, just because we get fired up sometimes doesn't mean we don't respect each other in the long,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as we said, last week, it's just sports debates.
Exactly. It's like you'd have
the day.
With your friend.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you don't think my friends and I, and I'm sure you can agree with this, if you don't think we piss each other off all the time.
Yeah, I'm from the West Bank. I mean, ask UBN how that goes when you're sitting talking about sports.
I'm sure my neighbors in college hated me. My friends and I would get in some really, really heated debates. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about this. This is going to be an interesting debate. I'm not as fired up about this as you are. I know this is a topic near and dear to your heart. So I figured there's no show tomorrow. By the way, programming note, I meant to tell you earlier, if you weren't watching the last couple of days that I've brought it up, there is no show tomorrow because I'm doing play-by-play at the Superdome for state championship game. So no Larry Holder tomorrow. I'm going to do my mini Saints preview of the Commanders. We'll talk more about that after Uncle Big Nick comes on, or maybe I'll talk about it with UBN. Who knows? But no show tomorrow. We will be back Monday for Mono Monday and all of the regular good stuff, and we'll see how our Christmas schedule lines up. All right, let's talk about this again. For those of you who have regulars know how we feel on this because we've talked about it before. But the Heisman Trophy is going to be awarded on Saturday. I wouldn't bet on this with a stick because I think it's a fait accompli that Travis Hunter is going to win. I think Gabe even thinks Travis Hunter is going to win. But Gabe says it's a sham. It's the biggest scam since Peyton Manning lost to Charles Woodson. And I'm going to give him another chance to talk about it. I think Travis Hunter deserves it. He likes Ashton Genty. But go ahead. Make your case.
Well, I mean, I'll start with the with prefacing this argument with the same thing I did last week. I'm arguing for Genty, as I've said. That does not mean I think Travis Hunter is a bum. That doesn't mean I don't think Travis Hunter is worthy of being. I think Travis Hunter absolutely deserves to be in New York, and this is no slight on his game. Something that stuck with me last week when we talked about this is Randall commented, "Dude's acting like we're talking about Barry Sanders." This is the best season we've seen from a running back probably since Barry Sanders.
He's bigger than Barry Sanders, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know.
I don't know. He's not taller. I don't know if he's taller, but he's like he's kind of a stocky.
You can look that up while I talk about this.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
When you look at the stats, they have, and this is so weird how this played out. They have the exact same amount of carries. So if you look at Barry Sanders' 1988 season, he had the exact same amount of carries as Ashton Genty does right now.
Okay.
Genty has 131 yards fewer, meaning that in his team's playoff game, if he rushes for 132 yards, he is the new NCAA single-season rushing leader. And I know by that time all the Heisman votes will already be in. But with that in mind, with a guy who probably, I don't know his average per game, just quick math, probably about 200 yards a game, given he's played 13 games. So it's going to be a little less than 200 yards a game. But for a guy who averages over 132 yards a game, I don't see how you
got 2,500 yards.
Give it to him. Yeah, 2,500 yards this season. And Randall, you say he plays against nobody. He plays against better opposition than Travis Hunter.
Well, they have a better strength. The number one team in the country.
Played against the number one team in the country. He had 192 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's pretty good.
On 25 carries.
Yeah, I mean, that's 7.7 yard average.
Yeah.
He also played, UNLV's no slouch.
No, UNLV is pretty good. They quote unquote held him the first time they played.
They played him twice, as a matter of fact. He 209 yards the second time. He had Oregon State. He had 226 yards. You can go through. I'm not Wazoo. He had 259 yards and 4 touchdowns against Wazoo.
And you can look at this. Anyone can get up for one game. Look, he's not just gotten up for one game, Randall. He's got 2,500 yards on the season.
Yeah,
I'm not 30 touchdowns.
I'm not discounting that.
No, it's what Randall's saying. He's saying he can get up. Anyone can get up for one game.
Barry Sanders was. He probably may not weigh this anymore, but in his playing days, he was 5'8", 203 pounds. Genty is 5'9", 216 pounds. So he is a little bit stockier. Mm-hmm. I thought he would actually weigh more like 220, 225, but. And look, Randall, come on. You're going to have me defending Genty here. Because
apparently Adrian Peterson wasn't a good running back because he didn't play in the SEC.
You don't have to play in the SEC to be considered a Heisman candidate or the best player in the country. That's kind of crazy.
Here's what I'll say.
I'll say, and look, I'm going to
put him in the SEC. That's fine. You give him an SEC offensive line.
I am with you on this part, okay? I don't think he's the best player in the country. However, that being said, I can tell you he's probably going to be a number one pick in not a number one overall, but a first-round pick in fantasy football next year because this dude is legit. If he goes to the right place, he could not only start right away, but be one of the best running backs in the nation.
Randall, you have to put him in the same sentence as Sanders. Because he's within touching distance of Sanders' record.
Emily says he doesn't think Randall thinks before he types. Sean says Alvin Kamara and Genty would be a good combo. No kidding.
We're not saying that he's better than Barry Sanders.
No,
we are saying
that
he is possibly having the greatest season we've ever seen from a college running back.
Yeah, one of them.
If he has 132 yards in their playoff game. That's what he needs. He breaks the record. Barry Sanders is irrelevant now. He does not hold the record. It is Ashton Genty's record.
Although, and again, I'm not taking anything away from him. Though when you talk about that, the problem I have, you got to have a little I don't do asterisks, but if there were an asterisk, how many more games will he have played than Barry?
Well, they have the same amount of carries right now, so that's why.
Okay. All right.
Barry Sanders, I checked earlier, played 12. Genty's played 13 right now. And here's the thing, though, is if you go back and look at their seasons, because I was looking at this, Barry Sanders has 4 games of 37 or more carries. Genty has 1. And you look at Barry Sanders in those games, I mean, only one of them was really, he was stat padding in garbage time.
Yeah.
They were up 18 on Kansas State. He had 320 and 3 touchdowns. But there was and then he had 29 carries for 222 and 5 touchdowns in a blowout over Wyoming in the Holiday Bowl. That was his last game of his college career. I mean, and they have the same amount of carries, which I think is indicative of how they've handled Genty this season. And this is where you can look at Travis Hunter and you can say he had 3 receiving touchdowns in their game not last week, 2 weeks ago against Kansas.
Right.
They were up like 45-0 when he scored his last touchdown. I mean, why is he still in that game other than to just rack up stats? Genty doesn't do that. Genty is imperative to his team, and when he hasn't been needed, they've taken him out.
Yeah. Look, I think that I will say this, and I'm an advocate for the Saints drafting a offensive lineman, and they absolutely need an offensive lineman. However, that being the case, if that dude's available when it comes your time to pick, it's gonna be a hard one to pass up on. I'm just saying. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean,
let's talk about the debate though between Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty. Enough about. Look, I think anyone who doesn't think Genty doesn't belong in this conversation is silly. Okay, I'm not saying it. He certainly belongs in the conversation, and I think the 4 guys that are on the screen right now are clearly the 4 best players in college football, in my opinion.
I know UBN and I disagree.
Okay, but look, to me, Travis Hunter, and not just because he plays both ways, but just what he's done for Colorado. I mean, I just think that Travis Hunter is what he's done this year is just it's kind of a freak effort. It's almost like Deion Sanders reincarnated as a player. He's not dead, but reincarnated as a player.
My biggest issue with Travis Hunter and people saying he deserves the Heisman, people say what he's done, the effort he's put in. So why are we giving it to him this year, not last year? His receiving stats are a little better this year. That's fine. But he played both ways last year, too. He played both ways 2 years ago.
But
this isn't a new
college
thing.
Football last year.
I don't think he's best player in college football this year.
Okay, that's fair. But
yes, he's got better receiving stats, and he's in the Biletnikoff conversation. But
his receiving stats alone put him up there with some of the best players in college football. That's not even counting. Like I said going in, this is not 1,150 yards and 14 touchdowns. I mean, that's not even counting his defense. I didn't even know
because his defense hasn't been as great.
Well, I mean, if something's got to suffer.
But they've played a weaker schedule, and Travis Hunter, as I said last week, has the ability to impact a game more than any other individual in the country that isn't a quarterback.
Yeah.
Colorado, with a weak ass schedule, lost 3 games.
Oh, man, he's also got 21 tackles, 4 interceptions, 11 passes defensed, which is.
He was not named for the Jim Thorpe Award semifinalists, by the way. He was not up there for best.
He
DB.
led his conference in passes defensed. That's pretty impressive, dude.
I don't disagree.
I'm just saying.
I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying he's not. He's a great player, but he has had the chance to impact games more than anybody else. That isn't a quarterback, and he was not able to elevate his team to even the conference title.
Akeem's asking if
it's Ashton Genty.
Right. What? So that's kind of the point. Gabe thinks Ashton Genty should win the Heisman, which we both agree that he's not going to. And I think Travis Hunter should win the Heisman. So,
and I think it's a travesty because he has single-handedly carried his team to the college football playoff.
Travesty?
Huh? Yeah, I think it's a travesty.
Like
I said, I think this is the biggest snub since Peyton Manning. I genuinely think you can look at all the Heisman conversations.
As long as you're not. Again, I don't agree with you, but as long as you're not saying it's a bigger snub than Peyton Manning.
No, I'm not.
At least in my lifetime, there is no bigger snub than Peyton Manning. That was absurd. I mean,
no, I'm not. I'm young. I'm not asinine.
I mean, Sean says it would help us having a middle of the pack quarterback by drafting Genty. I mean, you're talking about a generational running back, in my opinion. So, look, I'm on your side when it goes as far as that, and I hear you. In a lot of years, maybe not every year, it would be Genty, but I just think you're talking about Hunter, who has done just so many different things. Maybe it is maybe it is partly because of what he did last year. I mean, maybe that's in the back of my mind. Maybe it's in the back of other people's minds that what he was able to do. Sometimes, even though you're not supposed to do this, I know that voters do this. Like, okay, you combine what he's done over a 2-year period, and you kind of cram it into 1 year, and it's kind of crazy. I don't know. I mean, maybe you have a point there. I just think.
Yeah, I just don't think with an individual that has been given all of the keys to succeed, and it's 100% on him. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete, and anyone who tells you otherwise is crazy.
All right, Hakeem says he's not mad. He says Jonty at all. 2,500 rushing yards is nuts. It is, and he's definitely deserving of first place votes. John Pace says he'd vote for Genty as Heisman winner. No snub, losing a Hunter. And me saying it's a snub doesn't mean that I don't think Travis Hunter is deserving of it. I just think Ashton Genty is more deserving of it. All right, this is funny. Apathy. This is good. Trevor Penning pancaking some fail clown Falcon. Defensive end springing Genty free for 80 yards to the house would be hilarious. Why do I think that Genty would just do it on his own? Uncle Big Nick wants to know has anyone heard Genty speak? I haven't actually. Does he speak?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, I'm not kidding. Like,
but he's not gotten
during high school when Arch was playing. Arch was like kind of shielded from the media. Like,
he was in his first year at Texas too. Yeah.
Well, and that's the Manning way. They didn't let him talk his freshman year at all. Like, he literally could not say a word to anyone from the media. And then they did the same thing at Texas. So, but even after that, though, it was hard to get him a lot.
I would just want to deviate real quick, and then we can pop back into this Heisman conversation. One thing I thought about this morning, Bill Belichick is going to have to talk to student reporters at UNC.
Oh, that's going to be hilarious.
And not only that, are they going to give him a weekly radio show?
I don't know. I talked to Bob Knight as a student reporter. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I don't know what North Carolina's version of this is. Can you imagine Bill Belichick sitting down at TJ's Ribs once a week?
No. Well, we are going to know, but that would be hilarious, though. We will revisit this on Monday. When it's all said and done, we'll probably talk about it again. When you have Mondays with Gabe, I kind of guess it's still going to be on your mind. Who knows? Maybe we'll have the upset of Heisman. Well, I don't know.
No, we won't. I mean, Travis Hunter is going to win it. I just think by every metric, Genty deserves it more. He's impacted the game more. He's elevated a worse team to a better position. He's within touching distance of records. I mean, Travis Hunter's been fantastic. He's not touching a single record at either position. Genty is about to break what was previously thought of as not unbreakable. It's not Cal Ripken's games played streak, but it's up there as one of the highly unattainable records in football.
I disagree with you, but I don't strongly disagree. I absolutely think your points are valid. I just think, again, all the things that Travis Hunter have done this year are, and again, it could be partly because it's 2 years in a row of doing this, and he just deserves to win it. I don't know, but Genty will win his share of awards, I'm sure. So anyway, but
he deserves the big one.
All right, we'll see what happens. All right, talk to you on Monday.
Did you want my pick of the week?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely. I want your pick of the week, especially since you're the only one in this show that's been getting them right. So absolutely. What is your pick of the week?
You guys, I haven't seen your picks. One of you might disagree with me here, and
if it's one of the ones I picked, I'm not going to comment on it. Otherwise, I
kind of love it, kind of hate it. It's been a meme pick for a few years now because the under is hit so frequently. I like over 39 in Army Navy. I really like
actually
the
higher
over.
than it's been, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I don't think it's high enough.
I don't think this is going to be like their usual like 10-7 slug.
No, neither do I. I mean, Army's 8-3-1 to the over, and Navy's 7-4.
Yeah,
I think if they wanted to, Army could get close to covering this on their own. I mean, we saw Tulane.
Hold on, real quick. I got to answer this comment. Hakeem says Troy Davis back in the late 90s rushed for 2,000 yards in back-to-back years and didn't sniff the Heisman at Iowa State. I don't think that's true, Hakeem. I fairly certain that Troy Davis, at the bare minimum, finished second. I'm gonna look it up while we're talking.
I was gonna look that up.
I'm just gonna say
he finished. Yeah, it looks like he finished second in 1996
so
behind Danny Werfel.
Yeah, you can't.
And he finished fifth the year before.
By the way, Danny Werfel and Troy Davis both on the same team with the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, so that's not true that he didn't sniff the Heisman. It's the same kind of thing.
He got very close to the Heisman.
Yeah,
he got closer than anyone else that year.
And by the way, Troy Davis was a terrible NFL. But so your pick of the week is Army Navy over 39 and a half. I will say
over
that,
39, I believe.
Over 39.
Over
I will
39.
say that I endorse this pick. Again, these two are not the same. This game, by the way, is in one of our best bets, Uncle Big Nick or mine. We'll find out.
I'm very glad that you endorse it because I absolutely hate it. But I think it's the right choice. With how many times those games, I could see this being a 10-7 game because that's just what Army Navy is. But I think these teams are different, and I like the over.
All right, fair enough. We'll see what happens. You got both of your picks right last week, and I think you're 9 out of your last 12, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't even know this. I
just know I've been
2 weeks in a
trying to
row.
keep them in my head. You missed 2 weeks in a row, and you missed one other one. So
I missed one early season and
you missed
two in the middle of the season. I missed 2 early.
That's why because then you were you went on a streak after that.
I've been on a hot streak. I know that. I've only missed 4 at most this season.
Definitely better than me.
And we've done it in 15 weeks now. So
definitely better than me.
I'll take that.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you on Monday.
Sounds good.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. You know what that means? We're not going to waste any more time. I can't wait to get into this because I know he's going to make fun of me when I show my record from last week, and y'all will too. It's UBN time.
Uncle Big Nick, can we make some picks today? Well, can we please?
Maybe I don't want to make any picks today. How about that?
She didn't ask you. She asked me.
I mean, if she saw what my picks were last week, first time ever, I got a goose egg. Ever.
I wish I was doing better because I really can't say anything to you. No, I mean, I have done it not multiple times in 1 year. I did it the first
twice
week this year.
didn't you? I thought you did it twice this year.
No, just once. And then I have a bunch of 1 and 4s, though.
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I went 0 for 5 last week. And look, I was watching that.
I didn't believe it. I had to look it up like 3 times. So did he really go?
I was watching the damn Chiefs game, and it was 13-0 at halftime. I'm like, okay, I'm at least gonna win this one. Nope. Hakeem says Michigan want to share the national championship the year Woodson won the Heisman. That wasn't no snub. What does that have to do with the price of eggs in China? Who cares? National championship. Let me set the record straight here before we get started. I've said this 100,047 times. Anyone thinks that a national championship has anything to do with first of all, the Heisman's voted on way before a national championship was issued or played for. So that has nothing to do with anything. Just like in the NFL, the NFL MVP, they vote on that when the regular season ends and before the playoffs start. That has nothing to do with anything. It's the same as GOAT talk. Oh, well, so-and-so won 7 Super Bowl rings. I don't give a damn. Who cares? It's nothing to do with anything. Yeah, don't get me started, though. That whole thing. We'll talk about GOAT some other day. It's like, if you want to rank players by how many championships they've won, then Trent Dilfer has got to be like, I don't know, the 20th best quarterback in the history of football, right? He's one of
Wilt Chamberlain be the
he's one of like
basketball player
30th.
ever?
Yeah, I mean, who cares? I hate that argument. It is really a ridiculously dumb. Then yeah, Gabe says JJ McCarthy should have won the Heisman over Jaden Daniels. Hakeem, I love you, but that is a ridiculous argument. It doesn't work. All right, anyway, enough of embarrassing myself. You got any thoughts on the Heisman? I know you think the same way I do.
I think Hunter deserves it, but he brings up great points about Gentry. But what I was saying about Gentry is that, okay, Travis Hunter and Dion have been talking about the Heisman for 6 weeks about giving this man the Heisman. Why is it Boise had a campaign for Gentry? I haven't heard anything about Gentry. I haven't heard from Gentry. I haven't heard from Boise State.
That is kind of weird. Maybe
there's no Heisman campaign for him. There's nothing going on. It's here's this kid with all his stats. Just go look him up.
You'd think there'd be some like their SID or whoever. They're published. They should have a publicist.
And the whole thing about where he plays is so overblown. It's just, I mean, yeah, if he was putting up good numbers, he's putting up great numbers, record-breaking numbers.
Numbers is what he's putting.
It's insane. And what he did against Oregon, and then put him against, like Gabe said, I said that last week. Put him in the SEC. Put an SEC line in front of him and see what happens.
He would be incredible. He might not have exactly the same numbers because he'd get beat up a little bit more, but he'd still have pretty good, damn good numbers.
Yeah.
And I think he would. Gabe's right. He might be running away with it if he were in the SEC. I don't know. All right, let's get to our picks again. Let's forget about this past week. It has brought my record down.
I went 3-2. It's like my best weekend forever. And you want to forget about it?
No, well, I mean, you got 8 points. All right, you got your 5-point pick right. I think you got your 2 and your 1. So anyway. I'm not discounting it. It was way better than what I did, but we're kind of.
I can't say anything about you because I'm doing so bad. So it's just.
I know.
It sucks that this is the year you have to go 1-5.
Yeah, well, it was going to happen eventually, I guess. All right, let's get in our picks for this week. And again, if you're watching, feel free to tell us you agree, you don't agree, or what you think on our picks that are coming up as we go along. And I put both of our 1-point picks. By the way, if you don't know how it works. You can see it on the screen, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The 1 is a 1-point pick, 2 points, 3 points, so on and so on. You collect your points. We add them up throughout the season. I'm winning 93 points to 70. But again, I'm not bragging because I stunk last week. We have the same 1-point pick this week. So I'm going to just show them both at the same time. Just so happened to be. We both got the Washington Commanders, minus 7.5 over the New Orleans Saints. Look. A couple of things here. I'll start here. Okay. A couple of things. You're going to bring up a stat about Carr versus whoever the backup quarterback is, which has been Rattler. And I actually think it's going to be Haener this week. Everything I've read through the lines, I know that the Saints haven't officially.
Did they announce that he started?
Not announced anything. They should announce it today. We'll see. I think it's going to be Haener.
Ooh, Washington's probably scared. They're like, oh, my God, who are they going to start? We don't know who to prepare for.
It really is ridiculous. Again, we're going to get into so this when I finish the show with the Saints. But regardless if it's Haener or Rattler, I think that this is a perfect – the Saints, even if it were Carr, I don't care who it is. The Saints just don't play mobile quarterbacks well. Jaden Daniels is going to run all over this team, in my opinion. I think we've seen it before. And so that combination, along with what the Saints are going to try to do offensively, I just don't think it's going to work. I think they're going to have lots of problems. I think the Commanders win this one easily by double digits.
Yeah, Washington coming off a bye, too. I mean, if Jaden was a little banged up, he's got to be healed now. And he's going to want to show out for the city and coming from LSU. I know he came from Arizona State, but still, I think his heart's at LSU. So he's going to have a bunch of fans there. There's going to be a bunch of Jaden fans there. I think it's going to be like a semi-home game for Washington.
You brought up a point that I never even talked about yet and kind of forgot about, but I am afraid to see what this dome is going to be like on Sunday.
Yeah. Like I was telling you before show, like I heard on the pod today, Carr has an 8th in the league PFF grade, which nobody that likes Carr hates Carr.
Yeah, you can't say that. We just lost listeners right when you said that.
This offense with Carr is an EPA of +7. Without Carr is -28. Where is there no Taysom Hill, no Carr, bad offensive line? Where's the points going to come from for the Saints?
Remember all the Spencer Rattler lovers and how they just hate Carr. They don't hate Carr and say Rattler's the future. They just hate Carr.
Yeah, they just hate Carr now. They
don't love Rattler.
It's a revolving door.
Yeah, they disappeared.
I just don't see where the points are going to come from the Saints team. I love Alvin Kamara under rushing yards. It's like at 77. I can't see him getting over that. They're going to key on him, and they ain't better run the ball.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, well, there you go. Nick and I are both on the same one. We got Commanders 1-point pick, -7.5. I don't normally bet 7 in the hooks, but there's a reason why. They don't want you to bet. Whenever they do 7.5 or 3.5, means that they don't want you to bet.
Yeah, they want you to bet.
They want you to bet the other way. And I'm not falling for it. I'm not taking the bait. Again, I think Commanders win by double digits here. Hope I'm wrong. Hope we have positive thing to talk about, but maybe the positive thing is Jaden Daniels. All right, your 2-point pick. The Carolina Panthers, -3 against the Dallas Cowboys, and I will not talk about this game because it's somewhere in my best bets as well. Go ahead.
This Carolina team's playing well. I mean, they've played great against 3 really good teams the past 3 weeks, and they're coming back home. I think they're excited to play. I think Dallas is dead. I think they're done. I think the nail in the coffin was last week with that punt and giving up the game like they did. I mean, Micah Parsons was basically crying on the sidelines after that happened. It's just, I just think this Dallas team has nothing to play for. Carolina is just playing tough. They're a pretty young team. Bryce Young's been playing better. I could just see them just beat the crap out of Dallas because I don't think Dallas cares.
It's a tough one. Again, this one is in my best bet, so I'm going to let it be.
This is the first time Carolina's a favorite in like a long, long time, I think.
It has to
I don't have the stat in front of me, but
I don't
it's
have
a
it
long
either.
time.
It's probably been 2 years since they've been a favorite.
Gabe, look that up. Can I do that? Do I have the power to tell Gabe to look up stuff?
That doesn't mean he has to listen, but you do have the power to tell him. We'll see whether he listens or not. That's up to him. All right, there we go. He's clicked something. He says he wants to know
last time Carolina was a favorite.
Last time Carolina was a favorite. He'll look it up and we'll move on. We'll come back to it. John Pace says he can't believe Carolina's favorite. I actually thought that was a weird line too. All right, my 2-point pick. This is an Aunt Mabel special, and although Aunt Mabel has been winning this year, this line is way out of whack to me because I think the Patriots actually have played fairly good defense. I think Drake May has improved, and meanwhile, the Cardinals are kind of in disarray right now. They have a chance to win this division, but I don't know that they want to seize the chance to win this division. I thought this line should be bigger. It's kind of like they're begging you to bet on the Cardinals here. I thought the Cardinals would be like a 7 or an 8-point favorite, but yet they're only a 6-point favorite. I think the Patriots come to play. I think they're going to fight the rest of the way. They're one of these teams where you think they're dead, but they just don't care. So they're going to go out and play hard, and I think their defense is good enough to keep it close. By the way, the last time Carolina was a favorite, December 18th, 2022 against Pittsburgh, so it was 2 years ago. So
anyway, had to be sitting players for that game. You would think
they had
probably
to.
What it is. Yeah.
No, Carolina was okay 2 years ago, but okay. So Patriots +6 over the Cardinals. I'm guessing this would be a game you'd stay away from.
No, yeah, I'm staying away from this one. But Kyler looked awful last week, and he looked awful the last 2 weeks. He had been playing well, and this whole Call of Duty thing with Kyler, like if it didn't happen, it wouldn't be talked about. But Call of Duty, I think, came out October 30th. And he's had his worst game since that happened. Like, it's too many times it's happened to be a coincidence during the season. So it's a funny thing that we always bring up, but it's just funny in our Discord that we bring that up, but it's like it's true, you know? And I was on Arizona last week. I liked them last week. And they just laid an egg in Seattle. And like you said, I don't know if they want to win the division, if they can. I mean,
they're just hit or miss.
New England's feisty.
They really are, and I could see this being like this could be one of those late knockout picks where a lot of people are picking Arizona here and they lay an egg. I guess Cardinals lay eggs.
It's like you said about the 7.5. They dangling at 6 in front of you. Oh, you just got to win by touchdown.
Exactly, easy. Pick.
This ain't the same New England team that started out the season. Like they're playing a lot better. Drake May's a big surprise. He's playing well.
He is playing well. By the way, in that game, Carolina versus Pittsburgh, Mitch Trubisky started for the Steelers, according to Gabe Henderson, and Pittsburgh won 24-16. So Carolina was favored. Pittsburgh won. All right, your 3-point pick
as a dog
is a total, and it's the Ravens and the Giants under 43.5 is Lamar Jackson coming off of his bye week.
The only way I lose this is if Baltimore scores 44, which is very possible. Why did you just pick
Ravens -16 then?
Because I don't know if Baltimore is gonna. I don't think they're gonna run Henry. I think they're gonna get ahead early and then just sit on it. Like okay. I love the second half under in this game because I don't think. I think the Giants are more dead than the Cowboys. I can't see. What is it? DeVito's Cutlets is starting. I can't see him.
Cutlets.
Baltimore coming off a bye, playing against this New York team. They got Steelers on deck, so they may sleepwalk through this game, but I really don't think they will. I mean, with the Steelers on deck, they got them next. Like I said, I could see them just coming out 24 nothing at half and then just sitting on the ball and just let's get out of here with no injuries. They might even sit Lamar. I hope they don't because I'm in fantasy playoffs with him.
He's in my fantasy playoffs too, so I need him to get as many as he can. So we'll see how that goes. All right. I
love Justice Hill props in this game, stuff like that, like backups galore.
I can't touch this under because the weather's actually looking like it's going to be nice. I could see the Giants scoring 17 points.
17? Really? With Cutlets?
And I mean,
can't see them scoring 10.
I could see a 37-17 kind of game. I don't know. I don't know how the Ravens are going to do coming off that bye. I didn't look that up. I usually do, but I did not look that up this week. Maybe I'll look it up and we'll figure it out. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Yeah, but I know you're not going to like my 3-point pick either. Oh wait, maybe you will. I don't know. Eagles -5 over the Steelers. You told me earlier in the week you didn't like this line, thought it was fishy. I do think it's kind of fishy in a way, but I think this is when the Eagles start taking that next step, even though Sirianni sucks. I get it. If you're talking about coach against coach, then the Steelers are way better because Mike Tomlin is way better than Nick Sirianni. However, I just think the Steelers have kind of been they've been playing above their pay grade, I guess is the way to put it. And I think they're running into a buzzsaw this week. I think the Eagles are going to be pretty feisty and be able to throw the ball on the Steelers team that's given up quite a few points over the last few weeks.
Yeah, they're giving up points, but they're better against the pass and they all against the run. So I can see Barkley having a really good game here. I don't know. I told you this line was fishy, so I didn't want to touch it.
It'd be hard for them to rush on Jalen Hurts, though.
What you mean?
I mean, the strongest point of the Steelers' pass defense is their pass rush. I'm not sure that they can get to Jalen Hurts like they get to some other.
Yeah, he better run around. I don't know. This is just a fishy line. I just don't know. The Steelers got Baltimore coming up next. Tomlin's only good at playing before Baltimore, playing a good game before Baltimore all the time.
They're not as good on the road either, by the way.
No, they're not.
Steelers are not as good on the road.
And like you said, Philly's playing great right now. I mean, I don't like these diva receivers coming out and we're winning, but I'm not touching the ball enough. What do you want?
Yeah. What's up with Pickens?
Pickens is hurt. He's out.
Okay. He's out. Well, that's another reason.
Grade 2 hamstring strain. Well, if I had to bet this game, if you say you have to pick this game, I'm picking Philly. But it's just I don't trust it enough. I really like the under in this game.
Okay.
I can see both teams running the ball a lot. Like, because Pittsburgh is not going to try and air it out against that good defense.
Hence why I'm starting Lamar Jackson over Jalen Hurts. All right, moving on to your 4-point pick. You got an over. You had an under in your last pick. This one you like the over in the Chargers Bucks game. Over 45.5. That's quite a bit of points there for a Chargers team, but we've seen them play a little bit more offensive-minded kind of games. Not last week, but over the course of the last 3 to 4 weeks. Definitely
he had a division game last week, so I mean, it's just I don't know McConkey's not. I don't know if he's gonna play or not. I think he will. Yeah, I know they lost J.K. Dobbins, but like I told you last week, I don't think it's a big downgrade. This Tampa team just scores points, and they can get scored on. And it seems like the Chargers play to their competition to where, okay, I got to have a shootout against Cincy. They had a shootout. Okay, we're playing the Chiefs division game. Keep it close. Let's see if we can get out of here with a win. We ain't got to do a lot to shoot out with this game. So I think that this game's going to have to be a shootout for them to win. I think they're going to have to outscore Tampa, and I don't think either one of these defenses is going to stop the other one.
All right, you like the over in this game. I like a side in this game, and I like the Chargers. I know they're given 2.5, and that's kind of a weird line. I get it, but I just think the Chargers are better than the Bucks, and I think the Bucks.
This is why you were looking up the weather in Tampa.
It actually wasn't. I looked it up yesterday, but then I looked it up again this morning. I think that the Chargers are just that much of a better team. I think they're about to make a little bit of a move. I think I underrated the Chargers a little bit before, and it's just right for the NFC South to get back to even. Right? It's not you. Tampa Bay's going to screw it up. They're just not good enough to run away with it here at the end. So I could see the Chargers ruining the Bucs Sunday, and then the Falcons able to win on Monday, and the division is tied up again. I just see it happening. I think the Chargers are going to win by, I don't know.
I could see that happening, but I could
points.
see Tampa losing and then Atlanta losing again too. So
maybe. Well, Gabe Henderson liked the Army Navy over. You got to pick an Army Navy. And hold on.
I do like the over too.
Mal likes the Chargers in a close one. So I don't know if that means you like Chargers minus 2.5 or not, because close could be 1 or 2, and then I'd lose. All right. You like Navy getting 6.5 from Army, and I got to hear your explanation on this one, because I don't think I'm with you on this, but you can tell me why you're here.
Navy 7-4 against the spread this year, and then since 2016,
but they've been bad lately, though.
They've been bad lately, but okay, scratch that out. Against Army since 2016, Navy has been a dog 4 times. They 3-1 against the spread and won 2 outright. Okay. These games are always close. It always seems like the underdog wins. I'm with Gabe on the over, and I just think this is going to be a close 3-point game like they always are. It seems like this is always a close game when Army and Navy get together. They know each other well. Army had to play last week. Navy was off last week, so even more time to prepare for offense that they see a lot. It's a funny story. I think I went 5 or 6 years in a row to where I just bet the over in this game, saying it can never, it can't always go under.
Right, and
it always went under and just kept losing it. But this one, I think it can go over. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's under either. So I just like the side in this game. These little trends since 2016 when I looked it up to see, because I always thought these games were close, and I said, let me go see how the underdog did in these games, and I seen that. So I'm just following the trend here.
All right, I'm not with you or against you here. This is probably not one I would play. I think that's a great note on what's happened in the series history and the fact that these games are always close, and they definitely are. I
looked up too. Since 2016, only twice has this game ended where the game was over 6.5 points.
Okay, and I know one of them was I think it was a late touchdown by.
Yeah, it was I think one of them was 31-7, and one of them was I think it was by 10 points.
Well, the reason why I think that's a great note about trends and what they've done recently. It worries me, and I get that this is a different game, and they get fired up and they get geared up to play this game. I can't take Navy.
The uniforms in this game are always awesome. I didn't see them yet.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's always fun designs and stuff.
No, it is.
I know you like old stuff, just black and white uniforms. Just do that.
Yeah, just run the one color helmet with the stripe going down the middle.
Yeah, the Browns helmets that are orange. That's what you like.
Oh no, I don't like that. I don't like the Browns
with the elf on the field.
That I don't like. All right, I know you're not going to like my 5-point pick of the week because it's Crossfire. I like the Cowboys this week. I just don't understand.
Oh, God.
You talk about, look, I don't care if the Panthers have been playing better or not, and I get the Cowboys stink. But who are the frickin' Carolina Panthers to be giving anybody points? I don't care where they're playing. Gabe says, I think Penn State has the best units in college. I don't think they have the best units, but they are pretty damn nice. We'll say that. Seriously, who are the Panthers to be giving anybody points? I don't give a damn if Cooper Rush is quarterback. I don't think Jerry Jones is going to let this team quit. Now, granted, I don't think they're great, but the Cowboys.
I don't think this team cares about.
They have played bad teams. They've played bad teams well. They should have won last week. I don't think that punt bothers them. I think they go in and I think they win this game outright. So I just that's a try. And you know what? Aunt Mabel's on the Panthers here. That's how much she's got a chance to bet against America's team. She's doing
Aunt Mabel's got fancy fruit in her fruitcake this week.
Aunt Mabel is winning some money.
Killing it.
I know.
It's been killing
She's racking up with her Social Security checks. I mean, she's definitely winning.
She got a fancy bingo pin. She's got
definitely
everything.
Doing better than me. You know, the weird thing is as bad as my record is, I'm ahead for the year. I've been hitting the money line parlays, and I know maybe we'll change up. Maybe we'll go back to something similar to what we did last year. I don't know. I kind of like this format, but we'll see.
I like this format too, even though I'm doing horrible this year. But yeah, I'm like you. I mean, we picked these games on Thursday. It didn't. Sometimes I'll text you on Saturday, and I'm like, man, I hate this pick now. Shit, this stuff done changed. It went a different way. I'm like, I hate this pick now, and I lose it. So I mean, it's just you got to go.
Maybe we should do a Saturday morning show.
That'd be nice. I mean, could you get up early? Like
Dude, I
5
get up
a.m.
early almost
Saturday
every day. I get up at 5 a.m. What are you, crazy? No.
Exactly.
Getting up at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. That's enough for me to tell you goodbye. 5 a.m. I'll see you next week.
That's what happens. You get to racetrack too late, and the pumpkin spice is already going.
Exactly. No, they don't put it out anymore. Pisses me off. They're ruining my.
You might have to buy your own and make it.
No, I have to go. Well, I could buy my own and bring it home and put it in there. I could go to Starbucks and pay $6 for coffee. I don't really want to do that either.
It's only $6.
Yeah, A-Town says shout out Dan and Mabel. No kidding, A-Town. All right, I will see. Well, I'll probably see you tomorrow, but I'll definitely see you on the show next week. Go
Yes.
Eagles, Shaw Eagles.
Shaw Eagles, yes.
Yeah. All right, see you later.
Later.
Uncle Big Nick. I don't know. I'm kind of normally I don't like get fired up to go against his picks, but obviously we have the same number 1 point pick, but obviously I'm against his 2 point. It's got some interesting picks, but then so do I, and I've been stinking. So who am I to talk about anybody's picks? I don't talk about any of that stuff. All right. We're going to finish the show again with Saints. Got any comments? By the way, if you want to get your predictions in, reminder, there is no show tomorrow. So I'll be making my final Saints pick here in about 10 minutes or so. Real quick, best of week 15 in the NFL. Rams, 49ers. Love this game tonight. Did not put it in my best bets. Almost did. The Rams have won the last 2 games against the Niners. However, the Niners were in a long string before that. I love San Francisco here. I still think they have a little bit of a run in them. I didn't want to admit this or say this when Uncle Big Nick was on the show. He's still in the green room. He can hear me, but I really like San Francisco tonight. -3. I think they start. And look, you know that I've been behind the Rams this year. I think the Rams they may end up if they sneak in the playoffs as like the 7th seed, they're going to give somebody grief. I know I didn't. Yeah, I didn't let Uncle Big Nick talk about the Niners. But that being said, I think even without their running backs and their backup running backs, I think the Niners play well tonight. I think they win at home. I think they win by, 6 to 8, somewhere in that vicinity. I also like the over. I think it could be a fun game. 7:15 tonight on Prime. Give me the Niners -3 over the Rams. And Uncle Big Nick says he agrees. Nobody wants the Rams in playoffs. Promise you. All right. My second most interesting game of the week is Sunday at noon on CBS, and it's Gabe Henderson's Houston Texans against the Miami Dolphins. We're going to see if the Dolphins quit or not. Let's see if the Dolphins quit. Charles Mangan says 17-14 Rams. Well, that's no fun. 49ers, that's no fun. That's right on the number. That's not picking a side. We got some Saints Commanders picks. Again, I'm going to show them in just a minute. We are going to talk Saints. I'm going to say I don't have a real pick in this game. I'm just interested in it. If I had to take one, I would take the Texans -3, but I don't feel strongly about it. I don't like the way Houston's been playing lately. I just don't. And I'm not sure. I don't think the Dolphins have fully quit and given up on their playoff hopes. We'll find out Sunday at noon on CBS. This, to me, it might be the most interesting game to watch, especially if you like offense. I kind of like the over. I think there'll be a lot of points scored in that game. I think that'll be in the 50s. I think the combination is going to be in the 50s. We'll see. So if I had to make a pick, actually, I would take the over in that game. And then I've already told you what I think about Eagles, 49ers. Eagles, 49ers. Eagles, Steelers. I just don't think the Steelers are going to be able to get to Jalen Hurts enough. They haven't been as good on the road. There you go. All right, we're going to finish it up. Saints, Commanders. And I'll give you my prediction in about 5 minutes. William said he's got a rhetorical question. Well, you just can't. You're worse than me. You're like way on it more than I am. Why do Rattler lovers say we can't judge Rattler off of 3 starts, then turn around and say judge Jake Haener off of 0 starts? That is very hypocritical. That is true, because that does happen. I think the Rattler lovers have crawled into a hole. The only thing the Rattler lovers are doing now, and I know most people still here are on my side. Oh, you're right, John. Bills Lions game of the week. Yeah, that's not the game that I'm most interested in, though. I put the 3 that I'm most interested in. I always put the Thursday game in there if I can, unless it's just completely boring. So that left me 2 others. But no, I don't have a pick, actually. I mean, if you were forcing me to pick, which no one's forcing me to pick, I would take the Lions. I think the Bills last week, I told you last week they're going to start a little bit of a downfall. I don't think it ends. I mean, even though they did what they needed to do, I don't like the Bills right now. I just don't. I would take the Lions, but I don't love it. Corey's still here. Corey's still here. You're not the only one, Corey. You're not the only one. But I'm glad you're still there. Is Randall still here? I love some Dan Campbell, says John Pace. Well, we're not going to do that this morning. Look, I tell you the way that I think it is. If I think the Lions going to win, I tell you I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win this week. I'm not going to deny. Look, we got to finish with the Saints here. We only got like 5-6 more minutes left. But I'm not denying the Lions aren't a really, really good football team. In fact, in my power rankings, the Lions are number 1. Okay? But when you go forward that doesn't mean anything to me. Just because you're the number 1 ranked team doesn't mean I'm going to pick you to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't work that way. I've told you why I don't think that the Lions aren't going to win the Super Bowl. In fact, I don't think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to find a way to screw it up before they get to the Super Bowl. Now, what would be interesting is if the Lions play the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, because if there's any coach that I think is worse than Dan Campbell, or at least what, it's Nick Sirianni. But Nick Sirianni's been to the Super Bowl. So experience maybe matters there. That'll be something we talk about in the near future. We might have a whole show on that. I might have Sirianni and Campbell as my cutouts. One show coming up in the near future. Charles Mangus, anyone but Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Why? Because they've done it before? You got to love, you have to have an appreciation for greatness. I have an appreciation for greatness. I happen to think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are the epitome of greatness. They're like this decade's version of Belichick and Brady. You can hate them all you want, but you got to appreciate the greatness. I kind of hope they do make it to the Super Bowl just so everybody else will be, not again. Come on, man. Not again. I hope it happens. I don't care. We want Bills Lions. Why? Screw Bills Lions. All right. Again, no more anything but the Saints talk. We're going to wrap the last 4, 5, 6 minutes with Saints Commanders. We never really talked a whole lot about it. And again, if I did say in the beginning of the show, I'm going to say it again. I think everything that I've read through the lines in the quote-unquote rumor mill, which doesn't really mean a whole lot. I do not have – first of all, it's absurd. It's incredibly absurd that the Saints aren't going to – they know who's starting Sunday. Anybody who thinks that the Saints don't know who's starting at quarterback Sunday is naive and goofy, okay? We all know that they know. I know that you know that I know that you know that I know. That kind of thing. So why not just tell us? What are you trying to hide? You're 5-8. Okay. Do you think you're going to affect the Commanders' game plan? The Commanders don't give a rat's ass who starts at quarterback. They really don't. I promise you. They don't care. They have their game plan. This is what we're doing. We don't care who you start at quarterback. You know who they're keying on stopping? Number 41. They don't care about anyone else but number 41. I promise you. They don't care if it's 3 or 18. Doesn't make a difference to them. Why not just tell us? Doesn't make any sense. Again, look, we've seen what Rattler can do, and I don't care who. It's a valid point of who he was playing with, but I've seen him. You score 6 points in 3 games. I want to say the other dude. Again, not that I think the other dude is going to be here when all is said and done, because I don't. I think next year, one of them will be here and the other one will be gone. And in 2 years, I think they'll both be gone. Sean says Haener deserves to show what he's got, even though he was drafted by previous staff. I agree. UBN says the Saints are acting like he's choosing between Young and Montana. That was a tough choice, though, and they squeezed out Joe Montana. What the hell? That's a whole different story. In the end, when it comes down to it, and we got some here's my final pick of the day. I already told you what I think Washington is going to do to the Saints. And we got some final predictions. We'll show them in just a minute. In fact, you know what? We'll show them now. Charles Manga says Washington 21, Saints 14. Adam Varner, Washington 31, Saints 20. Still thinks Jaden Daniels will run us over. Yeah. He also says Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels kills us. A-Town. Commanders 49, Saints 9. Ooh, that's harsh. Jaden Daniels sets a rookie record for passing and rushing. It's not going to be that bad. But that's kind of funny. Adam Varner says Haener showed more promise than Rattler. Not saying that much. I don't think he showed more promise. He didn't show anything because he only played one drive. I mean, he may go in there and do the same thing that Rattler did. Who knows? I just think he deserves a shot. I think we're going to see it. My prediction is this. I think there are going to be lots of points scored. I really like the over as well because I do think the Saints will score a little bit. But here's the thing, and I don't think it's just Rattler. But look, without Derek Carr, the Saints' offense has been poo-poo, been dog turds, been bad. They got blown out in all 3 games. Derek Carr didn't start. I think they're going to get blown out again. Well, I mean, relatively speaking. I'm going to say the Commanders score in the 30s. I'm going to call it 34-20. And I might be generous saying the Saints will score 20 points because they haven't been able to score without Derek Carr so far. But I think Eric McCoy's back. The line is almost what it was. Just don't know that. And again, it may end up being more like 31-13 or 34-13 or something along those lines. I just don't think I think this team, this is the first step towards, just goes to show how much work you really need to do. I think, someone got on me the other day saying that on X, saying, I get it. You just root for Rattler to fail, which is nothing further. If Rattler goes in there and plays, if Rattler's the starter on Sunday, I hope he goes in there and throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't know how else to say this. I don't root against someone just because if he plays terrible, then it proves me right. I'm not one of those. I don't care if I'm right or not. I really don't. I tell you the way that I think that it is. I'm wrong a lot. It's okay if I'm wrong. I don't have to be right. I'd much rather have fun in this show and come back. I'd rather come on this show Monday, Rattler plays, and the Saints come up with one of the upsets of the year. I think it'd be a fun show. I think it'd be a phenomenal show. Y'all can all get on me and say I'm wrong because of one game, whatever. Mike Prange, no way we score 20. No way you win in fantasy football this week, pal. Sean wants to know what I think of the Ben DiNucci signing. I know you didn't sign it. Hey. I think that they need a third quarterback because Derek Carr's not coming back. I think people are making way too much out of that than they need to. I think Ben DiNucci is, put it this way, if you see Ben DiNucci playing in black and gold at any point the rest of this season, then things have really gone south. A-Town's prediction is that Rizzy will lose it again on the sidelines this weekend. Dude, what's up with that? You gonna scream and yell at your punter? I mean, come on, man. I'd still like to know what he really did. By the way, before we finish the show, we told you earlier, we know it's a tough decision whether to sell your family-run or privately held business. But it should not be a tough decision to reach out to Evangeline Securities and set up a complimentary valuation of your company. Afterward, If you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ryan Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process among established private equity funds from around the world. And they will maximize the return process for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area. None with that dedication and success. They are fully licensed, ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. Not Spencer Rattler, not Jake Haener, not your hatred for Derek Carr. What is really important the rest of your life? You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. How many points did Rattler put up against Tampa Bay? I thought he had the one quarter. He had the one quarter where he put up 20-something points. The rest of his time, nothing. He had one quarter. And that wasn't him. The defense scored one of the touchdowns. People want to talk about Elijah Grace. People want to talk about how bad Derek Carr is, but Elijah is going to say Clint's play calling has been terrible. I don't disagree with that, man. He doesn't adjust, especially coming out of the half. You think he's to blame. Certainly partly to blame. Remember how, and look, I fell into the trap too. By the way, Preacher Man says Saints 24, Washington 17. I hope you're right, man. That would be fun. We'd have a lot of fun. The Saints find a way to win this game. It's going to be fun. I mean, nothing's impossible. But Clint Kubiak has not had a good, I thought he had a really good first couple games. Obviously, the Saints went through that poor stretch. I thought he went through the stretch without Derek Carr, didn't handle it very well. But that being said, after I thought he got better again, he kind of got refocused again. They didn't play well against Carolina. I get it. And not just because they won. I thought they played better, obviously, against Atlanta. And I thought they kind of regressed again last week. Been a little bit too predictable. And look, I know, it's you don't have Taysom, which is your number one weapon. It is what it is. Preacher Man says he's a homer. It's all right. A lot of people watching the show are homers. That's why they get mad at me when I don't say what they want to hear. That's why there's so many people out there, they come into the show and they don't stay. And the reason why most people stay is not because they disagree with me when I talk about Derek Carr, or last year when I talked about Jameis Winston and was on Jameis Winston's side or whatever. The reason why most people who come in here and don't stay, it's because I'm not a homer. I'm not Fanboy Podcast. I tell you the way that it is. And look, when you're 5-8, what other way is it? It ain't good. Corey Terrio says, Jaden Daniels by 30. Still who dat for life. I hear you. No other way to be. Again, even when I tell you, and I know there aren't as many, they don't mind me as much not being a homer right now because the Saints suck. I mean, everybody knows the Saints suck. They really hated it, though, when the Saints were 2-0 or 2-1 or even before the season. I mean, people would actually come onto this show and type into the comments. They would type it in the comments, what is wrong with this guy? What kind of fan are you? I'm like, I'm not doing this as a fan. I don't do this as a fan. Walt Crawford says, Washington 31, Saints 10. I hope it's closer than that. A-Town says, everyone have a great weekend. Not going to say go Saints or go Pels, but go Dattitude. Love it. See y'all on Mono Monday. That is going to take us out. I might have time for one or two more comments, but we're going to start wrapping it up here. I want to thank today's guest, Gabe Henderson. See, we got along just nicely, even though we didn't agree. Everything's fine. Nobody came out with a bloody nose. We're all good. I want to thank Uncle Big Nick. We never have bloody. We just we'll text each other after and call each other idiots or whatever. And of course, our top guest of the day is you. You're our top guest, but you've been our top guest for months now. That's what's great about this show, I think. Had a meeting with my boss this morning doing my semi-annual review. One of the things we talked about, he asked me, what did I like best about what has evolved with this show? And I said the fact that, it started when we started in the offseason, and as we went along, we picked up followers, and people would say stuff every now and then. I'd show maybe 8 or 10 comments. Now there's so many comments I can't keep up with them all. It's because of you. But that's what our niche is. I think that's where we do our best. Eric Asher is fantastic at talking about the wide range of New Orleans sports and getting them all in an hour or 2 hours on his radio show. You got other shows. You got Nick Underhill and Mike Triplett, Mike Triplett been a friend of mine for a long time. What do they do best? All they do is talk Saints. They give you their perspective, blah, blah, blah. Our Saints Insiders guys. Nobody knows more about this team than our own Saints Insiders guys. NOLA.com/Saints. Promise you. Nobody knows more about the Saints than those guys. Even more than Nick Underhill. But all those shows, what do they not have? Sometimes they don't know those other shows. Eric does, but he doesn't involve the listeners as much as I think I do. I'm not saying everyone has their own niche in what they do. And I think the New Orleans local media sports scene is as good per capita as anywhere else. We all have our own thing. Okay. But I think we involve you better than anyone else. Preacher Man, I know you do. Black Preacher Man says he still appreciates the show, even though we may not agree all the time. I appreciate you that you come back and talk. Again, we don't have to agree. Charles Mangus, great show again. Thank you. Rainy Cajun, thank you for getting everyone to hit the like button. I don't know that I'm not going to get any bonus money. This is actually not my own account, no matter what happens. Not at least I get nothing out of it, at least not yet. But maybe we'll get there one day. Lastly, Adam Varner says, not only is Daniels going to run for 100 yards and 2 touches, Terry McLaurin will probably have 100 receiving yards with 2 touchdowns. I don't think it's going to be that bad. As Callie, always a great show. Who dat? Can't wait for Monday's show. I hope it's positive. We hope you can join us next for Mono E Monday. That's right. No show tomorrow, in case you didn't hear me say it a few times before. There is no show tomorrow. I will be doing play-by-play in the Dome tomorrow at noon. Shaw versus E.D. White in the Division II Select Championships. If you want to listen, all you got to do is you can either go to varsitysportsnow.com or you can get the app, Varsity Sports Now. It is free. The game tomorrow is free. My audio, how can you miss that? And it also, my color analyst tomorrow is Newman coach Nelson Stewart. That's right, the former head coach for Arch Manning. Who knows? Maybe we'll even bring up Arch tomorrow. I don't know. We'll have a long time and a half time to talk about all sorts of things. Who knows what'll come up? But you can go get the VSN app. It is on every major platform. It's on Apple. It's on Android. It's even on Roku. It's on Apple TV. Wherever you want to get it, search for Varsity Sports Now. You can listen for free. Also, if you click on it, it will have a score bug, and it will have the time that's remaining in the quarter, and it will also have a nice little advertising spot for our friends at Regis. I'm gonna give them a shout out. Regis Radiator Service, which is owned by Uncle Big Nick, by the way. Shout out to Regis Radiator Service. A reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page if you haven't done so already. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. And of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, many more. And you can also find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports and on bet.NOLA.com. Charles Mangus, go Shaw. Absolutely. Anna Varna says, this show helps get him through the week. Well, I'm glad I can do that. John Pace says, go Shaw Eagles. Mike Prange says, go Eagles. Corey Terrio, oh, boo. E.D. White is right by your house. There's another thing we can disagree on. So he says, go Cardinals. Whoever wins that, it's gonna be a fun one. Appreciate you all. Have a glorious, wonderful weekend. Go Shaw Eagles. Go Franklinton Demons. Go Travis Hunter. And who dat, of course. We will see you on Monday, everybody. Take it easy, my friends.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.